Hello everyone, my name is Xavier and welcome to the very first devlog of my indie game, The Kind Camomille. I've been working on this game for almost 2 months now, and before getting too deep into this first devlog, I just want to state that I will be editing these videos at a minimum because I want to spend all my free time into the actual development of the game. So if I stutter or if I do dumb things, well, they probably stay in. But still, if I have some time and if I can do it, I will try and share some tips and tricks of stuff I've been doing to be able to make the game despite my very limited programming skills. So that might be of some interest to some of you. I hope so, actually. So what is this little game about anyway? So it's about Camomille, this little mouse here. She's trying to get to her grandmother's house for 100th birthday. Of course, it won't be that easy because the main mean of travel up there will be closed. So she will need to find a way around. Actually, while she's doing that, she will meet other characters, other animals like her, which will be in dire need of help for different little things. It will be your decision as a player to help them or not. The idea and the theme of the game is random act of kindness and the sheer joy of discovering new things. So she will get the opportunity to fill up that little gift basket here, which will determine the, let's say, the percentile of finishing the game. But you can finish the game with almost anything in it. It's just a matter of completion. Being a solo developer, I needed to make some concessions, style-wise, to be able to finish the game this year. So one of the best things you can do, in my opinion, if you do still like that hard style, is to go low poly. In my case, I choose a low poly design, but I also chose an unlit type of shader and materials. That way I don't have to bake any lighting, and that means I don't have to unwrap any models. I mean, almost any models. But as you can see, I spent some time and got a vertex shader working for my trees and stuff. I can customize the speed and the strength from the wind and stuff like that, and the curve over time also. The grass is the standard grass in the Terran Unity system, so it has its own wind already in place, which is pretty fantastic. If I walk up here, you'll see that I started to try some falling leaves particle, which have the color not matching, obviously. And sound-wise, I'm going to have to create a system where I can set up big volumes with different type of sounds, because I want some nice transition between, let's say, the forest, the plains, and the seashore. Right now, using the standard spherical volumes is not really cutting it, and especially because I don't like the way they transition into one another. And I would have to place a ton of them. So I need something else that is going to probably test the position of the player versus a big volume and play a sound inside of the listener. Animation wise, I try to do every animations myself, and most of them are, but when I can, I'm going to use some animations that I find into the asset store, because that's going to save time, and I'm not an animator by any means, so it's working, but it's not as pretty as it could be, but what can I do? And here are some rabbits that I created actually yesterday with a free mechanism, I mean. They are using the nav mesh, and as you can see, I still have to tweak some of their end pathing, because if they go too close to something that cannot resolve as a ending point of the path, they will go like that. They go crazy, and it's ugly. So I will have to fix that. Here I'm coming up to one of the characters that I created for the game. So that's Mr. Beaver. Mr. Beaver, sorry. Mr. Beaver is a carpenter. I mean, that makes sense, right? So he's chasing up an invisible cube that is moving onto a path. He's using the nav mesh also. Using a path allows me to create very quick and dirty path for the character. Don't mind where he's walking right now, it's just a test. So if I walk up to him, he's going to stop his chasing of the cube. And I have an IK constraint on his head, so that way he looks into me. and fade in and out. If I talk to him, it's gonna start a quest, which is about finding his daughter in this case. Mind you, all of this is in work in progress, even the font is not good enough. So now he just stated that he's missing his daughter. She's gonna be late for dinner. She happens to be here in my test scene, which is no sense, I know, she's not moving. So when I get close to her, gives me a check as I found her. And he's like, awesome, you found her, here, take this. And he gave us a little honeypot or whatever. It's not the final item at all, and neither is the icon. I just grabbed it from everything that was lying in my folders. It's actually the Invector third-person logo, I think. So that's going to be something that we'll see all the time. We'll have my items for the gift basket. It's going to fill up in that, let's say, expanded view of it. And of course, it's going to be displayed on the actual model that she's hanging around. Quest-wise, I will probably redo this whole UI and have a checklist of things to do for the different characters you will have met. And probably the same thing with the Grandma gift basket, will probably be just a list in the end and not these icons, we'll see. Okay, so now that we looked a little bit into what it looks like in this little part of the island, I just want to show you the actual extent of the world that I'm creating here for Camomille to run around. So the island is going to be divided in 3 or 4, as you can see them, levels. They will be gated, meaning that you won't have access to them straightforward. You will have to find your way onto them. Of course, the goal of the story will be to get to this place, which will hold the grandmother's house that I'm still to create. I'm going to have a different type of vegetation on these levels compared to the first one. All of it is already created. I just have to fill up and paint everything. But right now I'm spending more time into programming all the systems that I can then scale up to the full extent of the game. So talking about systems, I just want to talk a little bit about leveraging what you can find on asset stores and stuff. Because let's be honest, when you are alone and you have limited skill as I have, you do need the help of other people. In that regard, it's going to be on the asset store that I will find some of my help. For example, the whole controlling of the character is an actual asset that you can buy on the store, which is the third-person controller. They have a free version of it, which is already pretty interesting. You have to keep in mind that if you want to add very specific gameplay elements that are not already implemented into these systems, you will have to work around them, deactivate them by script, and use your own stuff. It's the case in my game here, because Camomille will be able to glide around onto with a glider, which is actually made already, but I will show you later. And I have to deactivate these scripts to have it work. So that's something sometimes you have to look into, is you do have to work around some of the stuff you get to help you also, which can be annoying, but I mean, it's the game. So for example here, the solution I had to find for the tail, because I wanted a tail, let me show you when I press play and focus on that a little bit. I wanted a tail that could move around. I wanted something that would follow the movement of the character. Of course, it's a procedural key animation is the way to go, but I was not able to program that myself, and I found a very, very, very nice little asset in the store to do it. And it is. Where is it? Here, the Tail Animator. The Tail Animator by F Impossible Creation. Just check it out onto the asset store. It's pretty amazing stuff that he made there. And no, I am not paid to say that. I just really love it and I bought it, and it's amazing. That way I can use that system for all of my characters that have tails in a world filled up with animals. It's pretty awesome in my case. For example, if we look into our friend Mr. Beaver here, I used the same key tail animation solution. So it's into scene, which is reacting to the root motion. And if I would interrupt him, let's see if I can do that. No, I can actually do that because he's following his path right now. But I mean, it moves exactly in the same fashion as it would with my character. If he turns sharply, it will rotate around and all that. So that's one thing. That did save me a lot of trouble and will save me time animating wise in the rest. So basically I animate the whole character, but that is procedurally generated behind her, which is pretty awesome. And that's what I suggest you do when you can. Look around, try to find some assets that are free or that you can buy. Save some time here and there when you can. For example, I got pretty creative with that one, but it does work really well for these rivers. In case you are looking for a solution for rivers, I use a modifier, I mean a little script made by somebody. I will link it in the videos, to create some paths, and you can render a mesh along that path. It's been made that way. Give me a second. There you go. As you can see, I'm using a path creator script and a road mesh creator script. So the guy that made them is actually made them, I think, to create roads and instantiate a road mesh along a spline. This path spline can do many things, and I'm actually reusing them as a pathing system for my character. That way it's saving me a lot of troubles. And I created my own cartoon type of water, which I'm tiling and moving around. But because the script is made as such, you have the coordinates of the texture. When I just scroll it onto the y-axis, I think it's the y-axis or the z-axis, well, the water actually just moves and skips around, and it takes a little time to set them up every time, but it's working really well. And it's a little workaround to a problem that can be a lot of trouble. As you can see, it looks pretty good. And I have an edge detection shader, so it has this nice effect when it crosses an item that is into the water, like with these rocks here, for example, you see? Yeah, all of that reusable forever. So I suggest you look around and try to be creative with some of the problems you have. Just wanted to add that you can always trick your way around one way or another, especially with this type of aesthetics. So what I did here, when you have these two paths meeting up, which kind of look bad, is I'm going to spawn unlit spheres that are going to be used as a foam-like effect. For example, here I am using a foam-like effect that is merging the river into the sea. And if we go, let me just keep it on play. I'm just going to jump into scene mode and show you the other side of the island. I have this cascade. I don't know if it's the name in English. I don't know. I don't remember the name. But here you go. You can see that I'm spawning different type of spheres, and it gives me a transition between different planes of effects. And I think it's working well for my type of looks. Here you go. This concludes my very first devlog. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, or if you would like me to create a little tutorial about some subject matters, I will check into the comments and probably go with popular domains and try to make something up for you guys and explain with my limited knowledge how I get around to it. And in the meantime, if you want to head to the Steam page of the game and add it to your wishlist, it will help tremendously coming launch day, which will be later this year. And yeah, stay safe, enjoy, and see you later.